The
Welcome
movie
to D
opens with
Billionz
multiple
Recaps.
gunshots in the middle of the night, where Pedro and Jimmy head in to investigate. They belong to a very small town with a few families living there. They find brutally slaughtered pieces of a human body and a box of devices and maps. They think of it as some predatory attack, but no animal can use the revolver that was heard last night. This mysterious equipment was unknown to them, but they found a clue of a family in the woods. It seems that the dead man was heading to the lady. They follow his map and find the old lady who was waiting for the cleaner, the dead man, to dispose of his son. His son has become rotten and is now an entity for the devil to be reborn. Rotten is the only selected person in the whole world, which enables the devil to move into the human world. Now, this boy has been possessed by the devil, but her mother and brother have been praying for the previous many years to block the devil's birth process. Hence, the praying doesn't affect them at all, and he has become a giant, gross body with a deadly smell and burnt, blistery skin. The mother reported it as a rotten case a year ago, but the cops don't take it seriously. They let it pass because they think that is why the demon would choose this mini-town for a rotten selection and kill the few humans living here. Pedro wants to report it to the mayor, but he thinks the same, and they never take serious action about it. However, the death of the cleaner is unusual, and it really indicates that there is some power that is resisting the cleaning of the rotten. They reach another resident of the town, Ruiz, but he is also helpless. They have homes and land here, so they don't even want to leave that place. Ruiz is frustrated to see the state's ignorant behavior towards this place's terror. However, they know that the end of the world is near, and the devil is near to possessing humans with evil powers. They can't let their lands, homes, and families die with the filth of that lady's boy. Ruiz gets so annoyed that he points his gun at him. However, this is not the way to kill rotten because shooting them can make them powerful, and they can even kill you in return. The devil curses the souls who gunshot them and compels them to kill themselves and their families. There are some protocols to kill them, but Ruiz's frustration and even provocation from the rotten compels him to aim at him. However, the thought of his pregnant wife loosens the grip. He is back without killing him. The frustration was real, so he decided to move him away from his dear land and throw him away. Pedro and Jimmy also join in, and they take the filthiest rotten body along with the sheets. Hence, it is too heavy and foully that it rips apart the sheets. But they don't lose the courage and take him in a blanket in the back of Ruiz's car. They move almost 300 kilometers from the town and decide to throw it away. However, they are shocked to see that the body has disappeared. Jimmy remembers that they flipped the car when a young schoolboy gets in the way, so they might drop the body there with the jerk. Ruiz and Pedro are relieved that they have gotten rid of the body, no matter how and when. In addition, Jimmy finds a bullet in the car's trunk, and he hides it from others. They are back home, but their brains are still rushing with thoughts of fear and doubt. Pedro opens the window twice, but it closes by itself, indicating a demon. Hence, the next morning, Ruiz's wife shouts at the herd of goats and notices that one of them is behaving strangely. He takes the gun out and shoots it. Instead, his wife tries to stop him several times. The frustration and rage win, and he shoots the glaring goat dead. As per the sayings of the folklore, the curse transfers to his family, and his wife stabs him with the axe. She also takes her own life with multiple stabs on her face. The incident spread terror chills throughout the whole town, which affected them all. Suddenly, the shadows are moving, and they see a knock at the door. The Rotten's brother moves here, scared and shivering in the cold. He asks for shelter, but Jimmy lets him stay in the saddle room. They also take out his revolver and find a bullet missing in it. Jimmy clicked that he found the sixth bullet in the car's trunk, but he didn't say a word. Pedro notices the danger in the air and thinks of sparing his children's lives, who are living with his divorced wife in a nearby town. They don't take anything from their haunted homes and ride to the town to collect Pedro's kids. Pedro's wife doesn't let him in because she is so pissed off to see him after 4 years. However, he tries to compel them of the incoming danger and removes his clothes to burn them. However, before burning the clothes, their pet dog sniffs them and gets possessed. It bites the little girl of Sabrina and rips off her head from her body. Now, they are convinced of the danger, but they run to get their daughter back. Sabrina is crying in pain, but her daughter has gone. Pedro runs after his wife's current husband to forbid him from shooting the dog, but it's too late. He has shot it dead, and Pedro predicts the consequences now. He instantly wakes up his autistic child, Jair, and takes both his sons with him. Also, he is shocked to see that the little girl is back alive, but she is behaving strangely. Pedro knows that it's the curse, which is back in her body, but he is unable to convince his wife. The little girl whispers Sabrina's death in her ear, but she thinks of it as a trauma response. However, the little girl's prediction proves right, and Pedro thumps the car into Sabrina's. In addition, the cursed husband of Sabrina is alive, but the cops find him bleeding in a car. Hence, they also take Pedro's mother with them and drive away from the town. The grandmother informs the rumors about the possessed ones and states 7 precautions to avoid the curse. She forbids them to call their names, such as the devil, Satan, possessed, or anything bad, going near the animals or lights or hurting them in any way. Most importantly, no one should kill them with firearms, but she left the 7th rule unsaid. Jer, who has a habit of repeating words, he is saying the devil's name repeatedly. In addition, Pedro has no money to buy his apple ice cream, which makes him even angrier. Suddenly, Sabrina's call pops out on the grandmother's phone, and Pedro volunteers to answer it, but away from the car. He is sure that this is not Sabrina, but a cursed soul who wants to kill all his children. He starts crying in pain to see that he is a coward man who can't save his family from the curse. Also, he is perished to inform that he tried to kill Jer because he was born abnormal. However, Jimmy consoles him and takes them to some help. This is a lady named Myrta on the way to the city who has survived a similar situation. Pedro agrees to lend some money from Myrta and stay for the night to help his sick child. Pedro is staying with Jer in the car, and Jimmy takes the young boy and their grandmother in for sleep. Jer draws a strange drawing. Hence, the night brings terror when the cursed Sabrina hopes in with bloody hands and a ripped face. She lets the shadows move on their own and takes the young boy with her. She is here to take her kids back, but clearly, she is not their mother anymore. Pedro tries to hold Sabrina back, but she jumps off the building. They rush to return the young boy, but no one is there. However, they see the car filled with blood, and Jer is behaving strangely. Jimmy rushes to get him out, but Myrta concludes that he is possessed. His hands are bent and discolored, but the possessed one is not capable of reading his mind and possessing his body yet. Although it can possess it soon until it figures out its mind and fully controls it. Myrta reveals the 7th rule here: it feeds you on your fears. Therefore, he takes Pedro's kids because he is most afraid of losing them. In addition, the curse is passed, but maybe the demon has not been born physically. Because the rotten is still alive somewhere to stop the birth process, he is meant to die as soon as possible. Jimmy and Pedro inform about moving the rotten and then dropping it somewhere, which is absolutely insane for Myrta. Hence, they decide to find the rotten body in 2 different cars and kill it to get the kids back. Myrta also joins them and reveals her story to them. She states that almost 12 years back, the first rotten appeared in their church who was considered an actor. But it all comes true when he puked out his whole family, which he ate last night. The cleaners were hired and specific protocols were invented since then. She also lost her husband while cleaning one of the rottens. She thinks that it is all a demon's plan to reach her because she left the town and found a solitary place in the middle of nowhere. But Pedro is unsure because Sabrina doesn't hurt her but takes his children instead. Myrta reveals that the one who is feared the most will get hurt. Jimmy finds Sabrina tottering on her flipped feet and clawing out the young boy's skull. She has been eating his son's brain. Jimmy freaks out and punches her against the tree to kill the cursed one. But she is still alive with her skull open, ripping out the fresh blood. On the other hand, Jer has recovered and is clearly cursed now. He is not sick now and behaving normally, which means the curse has read his mind, and now it is able to control his body. He gets in the house and asks her grandmother to make something to eat. She is scared, knowing that he is not Jer anymore. Pedro and Myrta reach the spot and turn off the lights. She is sure that the demon is still not born because the sounds of nature are still intact. She knows the demon will eat the birds chirping the first thing after birth. They find a church with some silent kids and hopes in. The kids are gross, and they try to distract them from the place. Pedro also finds the same kid from the start of the movie who was bumped into their car when Ruiz took the rotten out. Maybe this was all a trap to bring Pedro and all others to meet their deaths and reborn the demon. Hence, the kids mislead Pedro, but Myrta understands that these cursed kids want to rescue the demon. The demon is here only, and on waiting for a few minutes, they find hundreds of dead bodies under the stage board. Myrta lets Pedro take her cleaning device and asks not to rush. Myrta sets up the device, and Pedro rips off the stage. They find the rotten there who is still alive and provoke Pedro to kill him with the red axe. The kids also compel Pedro to move to another room, and he finally loses his mind in fear and moves to that room. The kids find their chance and kill Myrta by stabbing her head with the axe, while Pedro is locked up in another room. The rotten succeeds in manipulating Pedro, and he loses his last chance to live. Hence, he is out, but it's too late now. Myrta is dead. He still hopes for the best and takes the device to kill the rotten, which is smirking at him. He throbs his head to kill, but it gives rise to a new birth. The demon has been born with a new morning sunrise. He is in the form of a young boy dripping in blood who prints 3 lines on the forehead of a sobbing Pedro to claim his victory. The kids kneel to their only god and start moving towards the sun. This is the same strange drawing drawn by Jer in the car lately. Pedro understands that this was all a trap built for him from the very start. He has lost his entire family, the only helper, and is now back home to see his sick child. Jimmy welcomes him with crying eyes, and Jer is acting sick again. Hence, he takes a shower to clean up the mess, but his forehead still has the mark. Finally, Jimmy finds that the Rotten's brother killed the cleaner because he wanted to save his brother. He claims that he was possessed while killing the cleaner, but eventually, the Rotten killed her mother as well. On the other hand, Pedro feeds Jer with his favorite apple ice cream, but he chokes while eating. When he tries to help him, he finds his grandmother's hair in his throat. It is revealed that Jer ate her last night. He walks out and screams in pain to see his son possessed by the demon.
If you enjoyed this movie recap, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I post new movie recaps regularly, breaking down the best stories, shocking twists, and unforgettable endings. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next movie.